bikes are fitted with weird and wonderful tyres. But they don't always work. And when they fail, it's not only the riders who are in danger. Still they try, one after the other. The mountain winning every time. For those who like a double challenge, there's the water course. But it's the mountain that sorts the men from the boys. The favourite and last year's winner, Patrick Guillot, nearly makes it, then a disastrous fall. The runaway bike picks up speed at a frightening rate. The crowd run for their lives. The bike first hits a dog, then a woman spectator. Amazingly, she escapes with only minor injuries. For the record, one rider did make it to the top, just. Down under, he's a legend, Matt Coulter, the Kangaroo Kid. On his quad bike, he'll jump just about anything. According to Matt, it's all in the mind.
The main preparation for this sort of thing is mental preparation. You've really got to believe in yourself and believe what you're doing, and you can actually, I think you can wheel yourself across a jump if you really believe you can do it.
But really, you have to question whether the power of positive thought is going to propel him over this. The kid remains ever smiling and confident as he prepares for his biggest challenge. He makes his run up and opens the throttle. He got it all wrong, and now he's out cold and in danger of drowning. His support team drag him ashore.
Get him up over here, in your hand. Bring him in flat.
After a few anxious moments, he comes back to life.
Okay. You're all right, nice and steady. He's all right, isn't he? There he is. Look, he's all right.
Was that good or what?
Yeah.
Despite coming unstuck, Matt believes any publicity is good publicity. It's clear he rates notoriety higher than his own personal safety.
I knew I was done for as soon as I straightened up because I saw the boat was at a funny angle, and I couldn't go anywhere. If I went left, I would have gone straight into the water and smacked into the boat probably anyway. If I went right, I would have done the same thing. So I just kept it flat out and just went for the ramp and just hoped for the best, really. And, well, I think I'm alive, so it's okay.
1 year on and the Kangaroo Kid is back for more. There's a new ramp, but it's been built too high. Still, he goes ahead with the jump. He's fallen badly. It doesn't look like he'll come out of this one smiling.
Where does it?
He's conscious, but his left leg is badly damaged. As ever, he's got a message for the fans.
Over I went, flat out again off the ramp, and she didn't go real good. The bike didn't fly well in the air. I tensed up, I panicked a bit in the air, I believe, and obviously landed really wrong, and I had to throw the quad away from me before I landed, so I didn't get tangled up with it, and that's, I think, actually saved me. Otherwise I would have got tangled up with the quad and maybe died, but ripped my left leg really, really badly apart. But I survived, so that's good enough.
And the whole of Oz waits for the day when the Kangaroo Kid rides again. We've seen over and over again on Great Escapes the devastating effect nature can have, especially where floods are concerned. Imagine then the nightmare experience of Mike and Mary Ann Autorino, trapped in the middle of fast-rising floodwaters, all alone and desperate for help. Torrential rain has caused floods, leaving a whole town underwater. Residents are forced to abandon everything and flee for their lives. Suddenly, a rescue chopper spots something in the distance. Mike and Mary Ann Autorino are standing on the roof of their car. They've been there all night. As the winchman is lowered towards them, they have no choice but to swim for it. The helicopter struggles to get closer. If it hits the fallen power lines, it could be the end for all of them. Mary Ann is the first to be rescued.
Okay, he's got a hold of the lady. They'll put her in the ring and take her right on up. And she's in the ring. Okay, it looks like this first one is going to be successful. Now, it appears that the gentleman has moved over just a little bit to some debris, and he's hanging on to the debris.
Now the winchman goes back for Mike.
The dangerous part is the individuals, because they don't know what to expect.
The safety harness on, he too is soon on his way up.
Now we've got the ring around him, and again, the winch operator will bring him right on up, right to the aircraft.
Considering her ordeal, Mary Ann is amazingly cheerful.
How are you doing this morning?
Well, we're doing fine now.
You were in the water for a long time there.
Since last night when we were leaving, we got 15 minutes notice. We got in the car and made the right turn to go to Ella, and it came, and we didn't know what to do, so we stood on top of the car all night long.
You stood on top of the car all night?
On top of the car all night long, and we watched other people being rescued, but we were so close to the trees and the power lines, they didn't see us.
Fully recovered the next day, the couple thank everyone involved in the rescue.
You'll be coming back to Marysville?
Sure! This is a great place and beautiful shooting stars all night long.
For firefighters, the unpredictable nature of fire makes it a deadly enemy. When a blaze turned on a fireman in Hawaii, he made a split-second decision that saved his life. Just look at this. A giant blaze erupts at a dockside fuel refinery, threatening the whole of Honolulu Harbour. More than 100 firemen and even the military are called in to try and control the inferno. Burning fuel is making their job impossible. The intense heat could cause the huge tanks to explode any minute. Navy fireboats battle to keep the tanks cool, as firemen constantly douse the fire with foam.
This type of fire is awfully hot, and we're trying to get as close as we can so we can put foam onto the top of the tank.
The heat is so intense it melts the fuel lines, making things even more lethal for the fire brigade. Fireman Ken Yamamoto and his partner move in to tackle the flames at close quarters. They're in big danger. The explosion hits Ken full in the face. The voice is the cameraman's, desperately trying to summon help. Watch again as Ken talks us through it.
I was caught right in the middle of it. My only reaction was to drop the hose and try and outrun it or get away from it. But there was some piping that was below the surface of the water fuel mixture, and I tripped over it. I went face first into this fuel. The rescue captain who was with me at the time, he had the presence of mind to come over and put the fire out that was on my head. Right after the incident, there was a lot of anger that went through me. It was almost as if, you know, the fire was a living entity and it got the best of me. I'm kind of a person who believes in fate, and whatever happens is going to happen. There's no changing it.
And today, fate certainly smiled on him. Still to come on Great Escapes, the dog in deep trouble, a British driver's nightmare crash, and disaster on the downhill ski run. Don't go away. Welcome back to the world's most dangerous downhill ski race. At the top, Bridget Mead loses her balance and immediately goes into freefall. Picking up speed all the time, she's smashed against the rocks. Spectators can only watch and pray. Even the cameraman's upset by what he's seeing.
Sorry about the shakiness, guys, but I didn't like that very much.
We got a guy approaching. There's no movement right now.
After falling 2,000 feet, her limp body finally comes to a halt. Fearing the worst, a rescuer turns her over, only to discover she's still breathing. He's joined by another skier, and together they negotiate the treacherous route back to base. Every effort is made to stabilise the 26-year-old New Zealander while they wait for help. Soon she's airlifted to hospital. Incredibly, her injuries are few, her safety helmet showing the only real scars. But it's one downhill race she'll never forget.
It was really windswept, and the snow it wasn't ice, but it was really, really hard and really firm and very compact. It was just very slick, and you had to be going very slow so that you could get down without your skis sliding out, and for some reason that whole point bypassed me, and I went way too fast into the area where I was going to ski down, and just started sliding, and there was no powder or anything to slow me down because it'd all been blown off the mountain.
Thanks to her toughness and a good strong crash helmet, Bridget lives to ski another day. Our next great escape involves my best mate, Mark Blundell. We were teammates together in Formula One in the early 90s, and since then Mark has moved to the US and made a big name for himself in IndyCars. In his first season on the ovals, he learned a lesson the hardest possible way. To this day, inside motorsport, we're not at all sure how he survived. It's the Indy 400 in Rio. Mark is heading for trouble. Watch the right of screen. He hits the wall at 190. A mechanical failure leaves him with no brakes. All he can do is brace himself. Despite the massive impact, he manages to drag himself out, but almost immediately collapses. Medics start work on the British driver straight away. He's taken to hospital where they find he has a badly broken right foot, head and chest injuries.
Unfortunately, the brake pedal went to the floor going into turn 4, and no brakes, so I just went straight into the wall. There was nothing I could do. I tried to face the car into the apron, even get it into the grass just to start spinning so I could take some speed off. but he wouldn't do it. Hit the wall and at a very bad angle. Actually happy though about the car because the car was strong.
The twisted remains are a testament to just how lucky he was. Thankfully, Mark Blundell survived the horror of Rio and is still very much in the driving seat today. The aftermath of another high-speed crash. Look in the distance, Christian Fittipaldi is doing 150 when he too ends up in the wall. The Brazilian's wrecked car splutters on and into the wall for a second time. An in-car camera captures the moments before impact. Christian is conscious, but he's not making any attempt to get out. He's obviously hurt. The commentary team try to piece together exactly what went wrong.
Well, it's on the front straightaway. The contact has already happened between the two cars, and then very heavy contact for Christian Fittipaldi right at the pit exit. But now remember, his car has no brakes, no way to stop this thing. He comes down, flies over the curb, and he really is just along for the ride. Nothing a driver can do at this point.
As you can see, heavy damage to the front end of the car, and we'll take another look at that same shot in real time so you get a better idea of the impact.
Look at the debris that the other cars are having to thread through. Now remember, when a car really just explodes like that, that is what you want. The designers want the car to dissipate the energy, but this is an incredibly heavy hit.
Fittipaldi's teammate, Michael Andretti, was right behind.
Yeah, it was really scary. It was really scary for Christian, you know. It looked really bad. Hopefully he'll be okay.
It's hard to believe Fittipaldi escaped with only a broken leg. 2 months on, he's planning his comeback. And he can't resist the temptation to get back behind the wheel.
Well, it was a little bit strange in the beginning, but I think everything went pretty well. I didn't take a long time to really get used to braking with the left foot. The right leg is coming along good. It hurts a little bit, obviously, when I go over the bumps, but I think I can stand the pain, and I'm very confident and very happy at the moment.
They make contact, and then, wow, straight into the wall.
And look at the debris.
The emergency services are called out to some pretty unusual incidents. They've seen it all before, but there can't be many call-outs like this, which tested the ingenuity of paramedics and firemen alike.
How long has he been in there?
3-year-old Marcus Furman has been playing in a swimming pool filter, and now he's well and truly stuck. He's sitting on his heels and his knees are trapped under the filter piping. Rescuers soon realise this is going to be harder than it looks.
So his legs are up here now. If we can get that top part out, cut these two things, it'll give room.
His blood pressure is high. An anxious grandma keeps him calm while they try to figure out how to free Marcus without hurting him. Hand tools seem to be the safest bet, but it's slow work, and Marcus is getting fed up and increasingly sore. Finally, the bricks are gone. Time to reassess the situation.
He's a strong kid. He's a real brave, unbelievable guy.
You want to watch?
He knew that he was stuck, and he knew that he needed help getting out of there, and he was willing to work with us to make that happen.
Okay, look at me, Marcus. There you go.
They work carefully. The closer they get, the more dangerous it becomes. Dad arrives home to help. The 3-year-old has had enough.
The edges in that pool filter were very sharp, and the pressure from the edges is what was causing him most of his discomfort.
Dad jumps in to help.
Okay, sunshine. There you go. Okay, sunshine.
At last, he's out. And straight into Nanny's arms for a cuddle. The end of a painful ordeal lasting 2.5 hours.
Eddie, come here, buddy!
Eddie the dog is paddling for his life.
Come right here, buddy! Come right here, I can get you! Over here! Come here, Eddie!
His distraught owner frantically calls him to keep going.
Eddie! Come on, buddy!
Eddie jumped into the freezing lake chasing ducks. Now he's really struggling. A rescue crew arrives and Jerry Baton climbs out on a ladder.
Eddie! Come on, buddy!
He gets close enough to try and hook Eddie's collar.
Got a red collar right behind you. It's pretty loose. Good dog, come on!
But he's weakening fast. He's going under.
Oh, come on, big guy. Come on, big guy. Eddie! Come on, buddy! Come on! Eddie! Eddie! Oh, come on, Eddie! Got a red collar right behind you. It's pretty loose. Good dog, come on!
Jerry risks leaning out over the ice in a last desperate attempt to grab him.
Oh, come on, big guy. Come on, big guy. Come on, Eddie. Eddie, come here, buddy.
He does it. After half an hour in the freezing water, Eddie's back in the arms of his relieved owner for a dash to the vets. Back home, this much-loved member of the family gets even more attention than usual.
I did miss you so much.
A little bit longer and his core temperature just another degree or two, and he wouldn't have been able to swim and keep himself up.
I thought I was going to watch the dog go under right there.
That he didn't is all thanks to the bravery and determination of Jerry.
They finally called him so he would swim over there because he had stopped swimming at that point. He was kind of leaning against the ice.
And I think they were ready to jump in the water. I think they were going to do whatever it took.
Eddie's still in the doghouse, but hopefully he's learned a lesson he'll never forget. And that's it for this week. Back with more Great Escapes next week. See you then. Bye-bye.
Cameras capture moments from acrimonious breakups in Divorces from Hell. Next.